Marvel and DC's latest crossover around the 2020s, mainly Deadpool and Batman, is still going strong with a second issue on the way. As we have a buttload of crossovers to get through, I want to at least focus on what personally would be my ideal Marvel and DC crossover. It's probably not one that you think of. That being from DC, the Legion of Superheroes teaming up with Marvel's Young Avengers. To give you a good idea why I would like both these teams to team up, I will do a little bit of explanation. Though it should be noted that for both teams, I do not have the biggest knowledge on and the biggest readers. So for those who are huger fans of these characters than I am, please let me know if I get anything wrong, and also let me know if you see the vision, especially after this video. Making their first appearance in Adventure Comics 247, April 1958, with creators Otto Binder and Al Plastino. The Legion of Superheroes I'll start with first, since they're pretty simple in comparison to the Young Avengers, and I feel like more people know about them, at least when it comes to mainstream. The Legion of Superheroes have a pretty simple origin, despite the fact that it constantly has gotten rebooted over the years. Mainly that of being the fact that in the 31st century, the Legion are supposed to be a group of very powerful, superpowered kids from all across the United Planets, usually inspired by the example of Superman, as they try to protect the galaxy from interstellar threats. The Legion have often not only teamed up with a young Clark Kent in terms of his Superboy persona, but also with Supergirl, and also have fought even Darkseid himself. In terms of the team's makeup itself, the Legion has had a buttload of members, so I'm not going to go over every single one. However, my personal favorites are the three founders, which are Lightning Lad, Saturn Girl, and Cosmic Boy. Yes, that naming scheme will be prevalent. And also other characters like Brainiac 5, Timberwolf, Colossal Boy, Sun Boy, and of course, Pharaoh Lad. Gone too soon, buddy. Still, though, most Legionnaires are marked by having a Legion flight ring, which allows them to have a universal translator, the ability to fly, and also survive in space. On top of that, too, their main battle cry is, "Long live the Legion." In comparison, the Young Avengers are a much younger team, no pun intended, created by Alan Hinberg and Jim Chewing in around February 2005. The Young Avengers are kind of the opposites to the Legion when it comes to their origin stories. Let me explain. In comparison, the Young Avengers were made by one Iron Lad, or Nathaniel Richards. He's the guy in the far left. For those of you who don't know, Nathaniel Richards was a teenager when he made the team, as he found out through time-traveling shenanigans that he was destined to be Kang the Conqueror, a regular Avengers mainstay, and resident Ant-Man victim, for those of you who watch Quantumania. Overall, though, the Iron Lad, when he found out about who he was meant to become, decided to go back into the present to try and stop himself through the help of the Avengers. Unfortunately, this was around the time where the team was disbanded through Avengers Disassembled. Because of that, he decided to use their failsafe program and, with the help of others, formed the Young Avengers, who decided to take up the mantle of their young counterparts during a time where essentially it was really rough to be a Marvel superhero, especially with the oncoming Dark Ages, and also, of course, Civil War right around the corner. Roster-wise, the original team has gone through a lot of revisions as well, but for the most part, we have Iron Lad, Wiccan on the far left, Hulkling on the upper left. Then we have Patriot, or Eli Bradley, Cassie Lang, aka Stature, and finally, Kate Bishop. All characters that you should be the most part familiar with if you have seen the MCU, or at the very least have heard them through the grapevine. Thematically, I think you could do a lot with both teams when you really start to think about it for more than 2 seconds. The Legion are very much a product of their time, despite the fact that they come from the future, very much exposing a very bright and idealistic future where everyone is inspired by Superman's example, another alien from a distant world, to come together and form a better tomorrow right now. The Legion, in many respects, are the living definition that we're going to be just fine, and that people from all over the universe can come together for a common goal of peace, love, and justice. In comparison, they are the direct opposite of the Young Avengers. The Young Avengers were formed primarily through Iron Lad during a time where he felt afraid of his future, wanting to deny his own future, trying to see if he can change it so that way he could live a relatively happy life, while at the same time also being formed of a group of individuals who took up the mantle of the Avengers during a time where they were disassembled. A group of young people carrying on the legacy of their forefathers during a very incompetent present based on a time in Marvel where our heroes were more flawed than ever. It's an idealistic future matched up with those who were forced to grow up too fast in uncertain present to make their own future. All that topped off with the fact that I'm very sure that one Brainiac 5, the resident genius of the Legion, would have a lot to say about Iron Lad himself as well, given the fact that a large portion of Brainiac 5's story is having to grapple with the legacy of the original Brainiac for the 21st century. Either way, though, I definitely think you would have a lot of potential to do in terms of each other's stories. As for what the teams would be doing, well, I don't know. Unlike other Marvel and DC crossovers, the Batman and Deadpool crossover really does seem to lean into the fact that these guys all know each other and live in the same universe. So, and with time travel on the table as well, we could get a lot of really fun ideas of maybe the teams interacting every year in a specific point in time, or potentially even just like having themselves a bit of a hangout spot before some big monster or attack happens with some introspective character work. Either way, though, please tell me what is your dream Marvel and DC crossover down below. And what do you think about this one? I really wanted to think hard about a crossover like this, since I feel like there's a lot of interesting stuff left on the cutting room floor that you could do.